And we are live. Actually, we're not live, but you already know the deal. We are in Jacksonville, Florida. You know, visiting the Pops for a couple weeks during the summer. Got a couple weeks during class that I don't really have class, so that's always good. You know, we got Shane, Mr. Nathan, Matthew. It's a whole family affair. Mom and dad are at work. It be like that sometimes, but yeah, today we're going to be talking on episode 54 about UFC Fight Night. Tsarukyan versus Gamrot. I don't want to get either of those names wrong because both of them fought their behinds off. Love to see it, love to see it. We'll talk about that later. Let's get into the first fight that I even feel like talking about. It was a great fight. The odds for it to go to the distance, I think, were plus 450. It did end up going the distance. It was a 3-round, kind of like a weird type of fight to watch. It kind of almost had that feeling of a war, but wasn't quite a war. It was awesome. It was a good technical affair. Chris Curtis got the unanimous decision over Rodolfo Vieira. That's always cool. That's always good. Chris Curtis was digging to the body all night long. I could tell Vieira's cardio did get definitely improved, but it still cost him the fight. In the third round, Chris Curtis was still landing fluid combinations, and Rodolfo really couldn't do nothing about it. And Chris Curtis stuffed 100% of takedowns. He went 20 for 20, so Rodolfo shot 20 times, got no takedowns. That's awesome. That's beautiful. Love to see it. Chris Curtis definitely was working on the wrestling. He said that at the end of the fight, during the post-fight prayer or the post-fight interview. He was like, I definitely was working on my wrestling. It definitely paid off. There it goes. Chris Curtis, great fight. Great fight by those guys. Chris Curtis, unanimous decision over Rodolfo Vieira. Next up, the fight I feel is kind of cool to just talk about. Carlos Oberg got a TKO over Tafon Nchukwi. Carlos Oberg actually trains at City Kickboxing with Israel Adesanya and Alexander Volkanovski and Dan Hooker and Brad Rydell and Kai Kara France, which is awesome. He's coming from a gym full of killers over there in New Zealand, Australia. So it was beautiful. He ended the fight with a jab-looking punch, but actually threw the jab, and then halfway through the jab, turned it into a long little hook. He found the button. Tafon went down, and after that, Carlos had the finishing instincts to finish. In the crowd, Izzy, Alex went absolutely bananas. Brad was there. It was great to watch. Yeah, that was awesome. It was a great TKO. But on to the next one, Umar Nurmagomedov. Yes, Umar Nurmagomedov, Khabib's cousin, fights down at bantamweight. He got the unanimous decision win over Nate Maness. Nate Maness had 3 UFC wins, actually like a qualified fighter, great fighter, has great stand-up, was talking about how bantamweight is definitely one of the more stacked divisions in the weight class. It is. And yeah, Umar really just had his way. Umar basically went Khabib. Like he looks like a tiny Khabib. It's kind of awesome to watch. He followed the Nurmagomedov plan, is what it's called, I guess, because he just took him down, smashed him every second of the fight. The scorecards read 30-25, 30-26, and 30-27. So that means that one judge gave 2 10-8 rounds, and another judge gave 1 10-8 round, and then another judge gave no 10-8 rounds. But that's pretty dang impressive. I love to see it. Umar, you know, he's not even ranked yet. He's kind of already asking for title shots here. So he definitely said he doesn't expect one, but he does say in 2 years he's gonna expect one, because he's already that good in his opinion. He just needs to work his way up and show people, hey, these Dagestani wrestlers, dude, they just calling for title shots because they know they can. Fuck it. Thiago Moises got the submission, the rear naked choke over Christos Giagos. That's a good one. It happened early in the first round. I think at like the 97-second mark. As soon as Thiago got the back, it was only kind of a matter of time. He just worked the submission. He got him in a rear naked choke, but he didn't finish properly. He actually wrapped his other arm around and kind of squeezed the elbow, kind of turned into like a neck crank choke type of deal. It was pretty awesome to watch. It was a pretty spectacular finish. Got the sub. I think it was standing. And that was cool. Thiago Moises is definitely going to move up in these rankings. I think it's awesome. Christos Giagos, still a killer. Just got caught. It happens. Josh Parisian got the TKO over Alain Badeau. Alain Badeau fights out of France. He's definitely a powerhouse, hits really, really hard. Definitely that heavyweight division is crazy with power. Josh has one hell of a chin, though, because Alain Badeau caught him a bunch of times. Josh was in trouble multiple times, but weathered the storm. And then Alain just had no wrestling, or no answer to the wrestling of Josh. And Josh just made it a really nasty ground and pound type of affair where they were just throwing from bottom and top. It was a really nasty fight, but Josh ended up getting the TKO via ground and pound, which is awesome. Awesome to see it. Old school MMA. Love to see it. All right. And this was what I feel like people were talking about the most this weekend was Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Neil Magny. Neil Magny is a perennial, I hate to say it, gatekeeper for the UFC welterweight division. Anybody that gets a win over him is kind of just immediately thrusted upwards into the ranking and into the limelight. Shavkat Rakhmonov has 16 wins in 16 fights with 16 finishes. That's crazy. He got the submission over Neil Magny with a guillotine. It was domination from start to finish. Neil threw a lazy kick early. Shavkat got the takedown, and that was it from there. With 2 seconds left in round 2, Shavkat was able to pull off the submission. That's pretty impressive. He had a bunch of control time over those 9 minutes and 52 seconds. It was, or 58 seconds. It was pretty impressive to watch. And then at the end of the fight, he ends up calling out Stephen Wonderboy Thompson because we know Shavkat, he did get the submission over Neil, but he does have the striking. He can strike with anybody in the division, he thinks. And he's calling out the best strike, probably the best pure striker in that division, in Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I kind of want to see it get made. Do I think Stephen's going to take that fight? No. I feel like he's already fought guys in that Shavkat kind of category of almost contender. So it's like I feel like he wants to move up so he can get closer. Hey man, my fault. Is it still recording? It is. Cool. My fault, guys. That's kind of funny. But yeah, so I don't think Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's gonna take that fight. That was kind of funny. We'll get that situated, by the way, eventually. We got a bunch of these to go, so this is just the first one, you know. Still giving love, still giving respect. Love you. Yeah, so I don't think Stephen's gonna take that fight. I do think Shavkat has to fight like maybe one more person before he gets to a person like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in that fight realm. But yeah, great win by Shavkat. Love to see it. New blood in the welterweight division for Kamaru. Maybe not, because Kamaru might retire. So when Kamaru leaves, it's just a cluster of talent. That would be very, very good. And in the main event, which ended up getting fight of the night, Arman Tsarukyan versus Mateusz Gamrot. Those guys went to absolute war, and it was a complete MMA fight. Gamrot's wrestling ended up being the deciding factor, but Arman definitely landed the harder and more efficient strikes. Gamrot was landing to the body, the legs, and Arman was landing to the body, the head, and legs, while Gamrot was kind of headhunting. Still landed 68 head strikes. I think he got 4 takedowns. Arman did get the knockdown. It was a very close fight. Very, very close fight. Gamrot ends up getting the decision, 47, 46. I think it was the scorecards for everybody. 3-2. I'm so sorry. I'm drawing to a blank as to what 3-2 is on the scorecards, but it was 3 rounds to 2. Everybody gave, all 3 judges gave Mateusz Gamrot 3 rounds to 2. It was a very, very close fight. I think the wrestling was the deciding factor. I think Arman just didn't have the extra push in the 5th round. Still performed great in the 5th round, but you could tell Mateusz's 5-round experience definitely proved to be a key deciding factor in this fight. Arman was still efficient, was still landing big shots, but Mateusz was just more efficient in the 5th round. He was more active in the 5th round. He never took a step back ever in this fight. So between the wrestling and the forward pressure, although Arman did land the more significant strikes in my opinion, it didn't look like he was winning the fight. So there goes Mateusz Gamrot, then calls out Justin Gaethje. He says Justin's the most exciting person in the division. Well, Mateus just proved he got fight of the night, 5 UFC fights, 4 performance bonuses. He's on that same type of trajectory to be one of those guys at 155. So calls out Justin Gaethje. I don't think he's going to get that fight. You just got into the top 10. You're going to call out the number 2 guy in the world. Doesn't really make much sense to me. Maybe a Tony Ferguson type of fight would be good. But yeah, thank you, Mom and Dad. Thank you, Mr. Nathan and Shane. Thank you, Ethel and Lucy. Thank you, buddy. Even though you're not here, you're back at home in South Florida. Thank you, Matthew, who's over there. Appreciate everybody. Stay safe. Love and respect everybody. Goodbye. Peace.